For lunch today, you want to order a sandwich. It's a specific kind of sandwich, and you know its name, but not what's in it. But you've heard good things about it from your friends, and you know the phone number of the sandwich shop, so you want to try it out. You pick up the phone, this is 1955, so you have a rotary phone, and call the sandwich shop on the other side of town. The manager picks up and asks where you're calling from. She doesn't know because you're using a rotary phone. You give your street address, and she writes that at the top of your ticket. She then asks what you want to order, and you give her the name of the sandwich, the James Dean. She takes it down, tells you that it will be delivered shortly, and hangs up the phone. The ticket then goes onto a long line of tickets. At first glance, it seems like it would take forever, but there are thousands of workers at this shop, so the orders are delivered very quickly. Different kinds of sandwiches live in different rooms of the sandwich shop. As soon as your ticket is put up on the wall, a cook snags it, reads it quickly, and takes it to the room where that kind of sandwich is made. In that room are vast amounts of sandwich recipes and vast amounts of ingredients. The cook quickly finds the recipe for the sandwich you requested, the James Dean. He reads the recipe using two languages, HTML and CSS. The part of the recipe that uses HTML explains what goes in the sandwich and in what order the sandwich is assembled, while the part of the recipe that uses CSS explains how much of each ingredient goes into the sandwich, as well as the qualities of the sandwich, like if the bread is toasted. Reading the HTML and CSS parts simultaneously, he sees that it calls for 4 pieces of smoked bacon, 2 slices of Swiss cheese, 2 slices of tomato, a handful of spinach, a slice of purple onions, and ranch dressing spread on the pieces of sourdough bread. But the cook doesn't assemble the sandwich yet. This sandwich shop is a little different that way, in that it sends you all the ingredients and the recipe, letting you assemble it yourself. As such, the cook gathers all the pieces of the sandwich and brings them up to the front desk. The manager already has delivery drivers ready and helps the cook divide up the ingredients in multiple packets to give one to each driver. The contents of the packets are each different, and as such they have unique qualities in themselves which each driver notices. The manager gives your street address to the drivers and tells them to adhere to the street laws very strictly, but to also do what each of them can to get to your address as fast as they can. There are myriad ways to get to your house, since the street layout is very intricate despite the fact that it's not that far from the sandwich shop to your house. It doesn't matter if they take different routes in the street layout, and in fact, because of their certain qualities of each packet, the drivers will choose different vehicles that force them to take different routes to comply with the needs of their cargo. One driver takes his packet through the industrial district. The speed limit is a bit lower than other areas of town, but there's less traffic at that moment, and because this driver chose a rugged car with durable tires, it easily withstands the unpaved roads. He makes it through the industrial district without incident, and your house is just a few minutes away from the other side. Another driver's packet made her choose a sleek sports car. She doesn't want to take her car through the middle of the city, not just because there's a lot of traffic, but she also doesn't want to ruin her paint job. She gets really good highway gas mileage though, so she hops on the freeway that winds around the city and gets off at the exit right by your house. The third driver has a moped and decides that, despite the traffic, he wants to drive through the city since it's the least distance. While driving through the city, he notices some signs on the side of the road calling for fast lanes to be installed. It's an ad, so it's not actually happening yet. The driver feels worried nonetheless, as he knows that the sandwich shop would have to pay to use the fast lane, and they don't have the money for that. He also knows that some sandwich shops would be able to pay for the fast lane, but for the rest of them that can't, it would make getting places even slower because they would all be squished into a lane that's more narrow than the laneless road they drive on right now. In this road, there are other mopeds zipping around the cars just like this driver is, and when there's a car-sized space available, it will always fill up with another car. Right now it sounds like chaos, but though there's quite a lot of vehicles, everyone is still moving at a relatively same rate because they're on the same lane. The 3 drivers meet up at your house at practically the same time. You meet them at the door and they present their packets to you, thanking you for your business, and quickly depart to return to the sandwich shop. You take the packets inside and open them all. Laying the ingredients out on the table, you read the recipe and assemble it all in specified order with the qualities mentioned to give you your sandwich. At last, you take a bite and wonder why the sandwich was called the James Dean in the first place. If you haven't realized it yet, this has been an extended metaphor for how the internet works. There are a few questions to be answered. First, in this metaphor, what is the computing device? Well, it's you. Computers ask for information, take in and process that information, and produce a result. In this case, you requested the recipe for the sandwich and its ingredients, took those in, and produced a composite item as the sandwich. Hold on though. What is the sandwich anyways? The sandwich represents the web page that is produced from a file, which in this example is the deconstructed sandwich plus its recipe. A web page is written in two languages, HTML and CSS, which were mentioned earlier. When read simultaneously by a computer, they produce a complete rendering of a website, assuming there are no bugs in the file. If you were the computer, then the sandwich shop housed many servers. Every web page file or set of sandwich components exists on a server, which is a specialized computer built to hold, recall, and transmit information to other computers. The cook in this metaphor went to the room that housed the recipe and ingredients for the James Dean sandwich, and that room itself can be considered one server. The whole sandwich shop is a server farm, then. How did you send a request to the sandwich shop, and how did it send back the ingredients to you, the client? You each have IP addresses. Every computer on a network has one. It's a unique number that notes the computer's location in the network so that it can interact with other computers. In this metaphor, your IP address was represented by your street address, while the IP address of the sandwich shop was represented by their phone number. The delivery process by which you receive the ingredients is called TCP, or Transmission Control Protocol. It breaks up a file into packets, which you saw with the different delivery drivers, so that it can be delivered the fastest way possible, as different packets may need to take different routes through the network. The network, by the way, was represented by the street layout. And just like how the different drivers were forced to use the different kind of vehicles and take different routes based on the contents of their packages, different contexts of a packet will determine how it will go through the network to its destination. There are myriad ways for a packet to go through a network because the network is so vast yet so dense, but it doesn't really matter which way it goes because as long as it gets there as fast as it can, it's all reassembled at the destination by the computer. This is why you, and not the sandwich company, built the sandwich. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think it's lunchtime.